Alrighty, everyone. It is that time of week for the weekly Q&A videos on this channel. Isn't that exciting? I always hate this time of year because there's just not a lot of sports to talk about. At least in a couple of days, NBA free agency starts up, and then we've got something to fill the time, the void in July. Thank God. And then come August, you get preseason NFL, and we're back to normal again. So it's coming really soon. Thank you. But anyways, as always, I split these Q&As into two parts. The first video, which is what you're watching now, is all football-related questions, and then part two, which will come up a little bit afterwards, will be about everything not related to football. So thanks to all of you guys that submitted your questions. Let's go ahead and get started. Vinny E underscore 21 asks, would you rather have Ray Lewis or Luke Kuechly? I'm wondering if I misinterpreted the question or left something out of the question, because I'm going to be honest, I can't believe this is a question that we're actually asking. Like, Ray Lewis kills people. Excuse me. Allegedly. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Allegedly. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Ray Lewis is an all-time legend as a middle linebacker and murder conspirator. It's going to be Ray Ray. Like, he will kill you. What's Luke Kuechly going to do? Hit you hard and knock himself out of the game? Ray Lewis will stab you, shoot you, put you in the ground. Ray Lewis, come on. Can't believe we even asked that question. Chris Joseph, who are your playoff teams going into this season? Ugh, that means I gotta go through 6 and 6 and 12 and totally spitballing here because these are not my official picks, so please do not hold me to them because I have not done any analysis or anything like that. In the AFC, in no particular order, you've got Patriots, you've got Steelers, you've got God, who would you have out of the South? Maybe the Texans and the Chargers. Just throwing that out there. And your two wild card teams would probably be the Chiefs and maybe the Titans. NFC, you're looking at Rams, Falcons, Packers, Eagles, Cowboys, Saints, maybe. Yeah, this is so early to think about that. And were Eli Manning's best years wasted by horrible decisions? Smart ass in me and says, find me Eli's best season. I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. The Eli face. Yes, they were absolutely wasted. Like, you think about it, Eli's got 2 Super Bowl rings and a lot of other seasons where he sat his ass at home like us watching the playoffs on TV. So a lot of his years, a lot of his prime peak years of his career were wasted by incompetent leadership in the Giants front office. It's that simple. The Hype asks, will the NFL ever get rid of the salary cap? No, because that would be such a massive giveaway to players, in the NFL and their owners are not going to allow that to happen. I just cannot see a day where they got rid of the salary cap, especially for a league that is so obsessed with parity and the fact that on a given year, any team, see the Eagles this past season, could potentially win the Super Bowl. So I just don't see it. Mike Schmidt asks, who do you think is the biggest threat to the Eagles this season? That is an excellent question. They are the defending champs, so until proven otherwise, they are the team to beat. That said, the first biggest threat to the Eagles is complacency that comes from winning a championship and then trying to defend it. It's an entirely different world to sit there and think about defending a title as opposed to being hungry and pursuing that first one. Now they've got that taste of gold, and maybe they want more, but maybe they don't. Complacency can creep in. You can get hit by the injury bug in inopportune places at inopportune times. You also talk about the chemistry of teams from one year to the next can change dramatically. You could talk about the NFC East has improved as a division. You could talk about the NFC being really loaded as a conference. Um, there's lots of things that could be a threat to the Eagles, but the single biggest threat is themselves to themselves. Mark Whalen asks, "Are you as down on the Dolphins this season as I am?" Yeah, I think you said you have them going no better than 6-10, and that doesn't seem that out of bounds or that unrealistic. Because honestly, what is there to excite you about that team? They just exist. And when I always have talked about the worst place you could possibly be in the league is in that middle ground between picks 10 and 20 in the draft, where you're mediocre, you're not terrible, so you'll never get a top 3 or 5 pick that you could probably really need and use, and you'll never be in the playoffs with a chance to win the Super Bowl. You're just stuck in this vicious, never-ending cycle, and it's just terrible. So, um, I'm not very high on them at all. I think 6 wins feels like a good number with them at this point. JT Evans, if the Monstars had challenged in football instead of basketball, which current NFL players would you choose? Aaron Donald, because I'm fully convinced that that stallion of a beast is a freaking reptilian alien. And if he does, that's okay. But you have to throw Aaron Donald on that list, even before somebody like a J.J. Watt, 100% healthy. Because I personally just think Aaron Donald is better. Who else would I go with? If I'm going with one quarterback and I want the best quarterback, Tom Brady may be the GOAT, but the best quarterback in the league is Aaron Rodgers. So I have to roll with Aaron Rodgers. I'm rolling with Aaron Rodgers, as much as that pains me to say that as a freaking Bears fan. In terms of other active players, Julio Jones, because he's a fucking beast. How much more explanation do I really, really, truly need to give? Who else would I? That would be 3 of them right there. I would probably go with Khalil Mack, because obviously I've always been a back the Mac type of guy. And I don't know who that 5th guy would be. Maybe it would be an unheralded tight end out of Pittsburgh from the class of 1961 named Ditka. But that would probably be illegal at this point. So I don't know who else I would throw on that list. But it's got to have Aaron Donald on it. It's got to have Julio Jones. It's got to have Aaron Rodgers. For me, it's got to have Khalil Mack. And then I'll find somebody else, and I'll feel pretty good about my fucking chances. How about that? Chris Wilkes asked, how many championships did Jay Cutler cost the Bears? I think the simple answer is 0. Because when were they ever really truly a championship contending style type of team with Cutler there? Even independent of Cutler and what he did and did not bring to the table, what did they have? They were not a championship level team. Even that 2010 season, I never viewed them as a championship level team. I figured eventually reality would catch up with them in the playoffs, and it most certainly, of course, did, because fuck Jay Cutler. But he cost them 0 championships. That's the truth. Dario DB asks to close out this Q&A, fuck, marry, kill. The Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bulls, or the Chicago Cubs? You have to fuck the Cubs. Positive way, of course. They did just win a World Series after all these years of waiting and suffering and hoping and wishing and praying. They finally did it in 2016. So I want to keep them around. I'd have to marry the Bears because that is ultimately where my biggest passion and heart lies. It's with them. It's Bears above all else. It is Bears, 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 no matter what. It is a way of life, lifestyle, all of that. It has to be the Bears. And as far as the kill portion of it, to me, it has to be the Bulls. They are owned by Jerry Reinsdorf and run into the ground effectively, consistently by John Paxson and Gar Forman. I will always have those Jordan-led Bulls teams of the 90s that won 6 titles in 8 years. You can never take that away from me. But if I had to kill one of those 3 organizations, one of those 3 sports teams, it's going to be the Chicago Bulls. It's got to be. I think it's an interesting question, though, for some of you. If you're an NFL, NBA, MLB fan, your 3 favorite teams, who would you do as fuck, marry, kill? I kind of would like to see the answers on this. But anyways, that's it for part 1 of this Q&A. Man, I can feel I'm getting tired. Hopefully I can make it through part 2 without passing out. But that's it for now. Thanks for checking it out. Part 2 of this weekly Q&A will be up soon.